Mental Health Monday. I am so excited for our conversation today with Ben Lugar. Good afternoon, Ben. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thanks for having us.
I am so glad you're here. We're going to be talking about all things Noble Care Act. We're going to be talking about Luna, the therapy, or what do you call it? Service dog? How do you?
She's one of our police therapy dogs.
Police therapy dogs. I was going to say therapy dog. Then I was like, oh, I don't want to speak out of turn. So the first thing we do on Mental Health Monday is we breathe. And why do we breathe? To regulate our nervous systems. There's a lot going on during the summer and during the school year and just in general with traffic and all the things. So we always start with 2 deep breaths and we call them square breathing. So Ben, we'll do that together before we jump into our conversation. So we're going to put feet on the floor. So we're going to ground into this present moment. We are going to inhale through our nose for 4, slowly exhale our mouths for 8, like you're cooling soup or cooling a cookie. And why we do this is so important because in order to access our prefrontal cortex, which this is the CEO of the brain, and we're out of our fight, flight, or freeze, the breath is like a gear shift. It helps us shift from the brainstem to the executive function of the brain. That's why the breath is so important. Think of it did you learn how to drive on a stick shift? Maybe you didn't.
I know how to, but it's been a very long time.
Okay.
I don't know if I could do it smoothly anymore.
That's how I think of the breath. It's like a gear shift. So we're shifting into gear from the brainstem into the prefrontal cortex. So let's do 2 breaths together. Feet on the floor. Inhale through your nose. Slow exhale out your mouth. Let's do one more breath. Inhale and release. So when anybody's stressed or overwhelmed, or you feel reactive or kind of activated by something in your life, try breathing 5 to 6 breaths. And I always recommend people do this every hour. So it's like using a muscle. And once you start practicing it, it comes more automatically. So I'm so glad you're here with us, Ben, today for this important conversation. Let's tell the listeners, and if anyone has questions, feel free to put it in the chat, a little bit about you and your role with the city.
Yeah. So again, I appreciate you having me on here. Hopefully my partner Luna will make an appearance here in a little bit. So I have been with the Noblesville Police Department for about 9.5 years now. And we created a program called NobleAct back in 2020. And that is what I do right now every day is I work with our paramedics. We have a social worker. We have Luna, the therapy dog. And our job is to try to connect our residents with all kinds of different resources and supports out there. One of our guiding mottos is we want you to be healthy, we want you to be happy, and we want you to be safe. The healthy, kind of talking about that emotional healthiness, the physical healthiness of the body, the safety, kind of that police perspective. We want you safe physically, safe emotionally, safe spiritually, and then that happiness kind of coming in together as do you feel fulfilled? And we never want our folks to suffer in silence. So I'm honored to be on this presentation right now is to kind of just put those ideas in people's heads that, hey, there's supports out there. My team is always a wealth of resources. We're happy to connect you with supports. I love that we started with the box breathing. That's something our team does a lot ourselves, as well as with the folks that we're working with in a crisis situation.
It is so helpful. I do it with every single client, do it in my own home. It's like one of those things that you can take it anywhere, anytime, any place, and always with you. It's a resource always available. Okay, for those folks that think, well, how first of all do you get involved in a call and when do you get involved? So if someone's like, I don't even know this is available. And I know we've had a conversation before, but for those people that don't know, how does that work?
It can happen in a number of different ways. So our team is available to respond to the active 911 crisis. So if someone does contact 911 for some sort of behavioral health need, social need, there's trauma involved, our team is listening to the radio, and we can self-dispatch straight to those calls, especially if it's maybe a family we've worked with in the past, or we just kind of sense that maybe there's a little bit more going on underneath the surface to help try to assess what's going on. One of the biggest ways we get involved is we have community members call us directly. We have clients in the community that are just recognizing maybe some warning signs or just feel something's not clicking correctly in their daily lives, and they'll reach out to us directly. Officers can send us referrals, and same with our EMS crews. So if they responded to a situation that identified there's some sort of unmet need, and it doesn't have to be just behavioral health. It can be any type of unmet need that maybe they weren't able to resolve right then and there, or it takes a little bit more digging and understanding. We can kind of follow up and get connected with those folks to see what is driving that unmet need and what resources in the community are available. We are very fortunate and blessed here in Noblesville. There are tons of resources, but so many of them we may not think about or know in the moment. So part of our job is to be in tune with those resources to make sure you have everything you need to be healthy, to be happy, to be safe. We operate in 3 primary spheres. The first one is what I just mentioned, that kind of crisis response. So we will go straight to the scene with our patrol units, with our EMS crews, and kind of help assist them in identifying what's going on, help with that de-escalation, basically, in a sense, taking that box breathing and building on top of that. So we're in a safe state to have conversations about what it is our community is looking for. The other aspect of it is that follow-up, which is so important as well. So after that crisis scene, our team is going to try to follow up with that family or that individual to make sure that if there was a referral made, that it was successful and it was the right referral. So no, we don't want folks falling through the cracks. We want to make sure everyone has that game plan, because it can be overwhelming in a crisis situation. What do I do next? Who do I call? What's the plan? There's so many things. If you had to go to a hospital for a medical reason when you're discharged, they may send you home with a packet this thick of, follow-up recommendations and resources, and that can be overwhelming. So we just want to sit down with you and find out how best we can help and support in that moment. We don't force anything. Unless there's a true safety aspect for that individual, we may need to go to the hospital, but we want to work hand in hand with our community. And then lastly, is stuff like this, is educating our community members about what's available out there to prevent a future 911 call. We want our community to be able to get directly connected with our resources out there pre-crisis, in those earlier stages where it's really effective and we can prevent a traumatic situation for the family, for the loved one, and that suffering and silence isn't as ongoing.
So what are you seeing right now in the community in terms of calls? What types of runs are you doing mostly? And or is there a variety? Because I know that's a question a lot of people have, like what kinds of runs are they doing now in the community?
Oh, it's so vast, and it changes every single day. A lot of what we're seeing right now, and I think it stems from some of the COVID situations, is we've had a lot of isolation lately of folks that are struggling through something, trying to maybe grit it out on their own, but then it's just kind of compounding and getting harder and harder. So we're seeing quite a number of folks that are just looking for support, but maybe not knowing what's that first step. And that's where we hope to kind of come in and be a partner with the rest of the community to intervene at those earlier stages. When the heats come out and we have all these festivities coming up with 4th of July, people are out and about. We do see an increase in kind of miscommunication issues. So sometimes, conflict resolution is another big one that we see, is identifying if we're not regulated, how can we help someone else be regulated, and have productive conversations. So we do a lot of like family kind of mediation as well, a little bit, where we will be that neutral party to kind of help ensure that everybody is understanding where each other's coming from, to break down those barriers of communication, because that drives a lot of the calls that we have, is just misinformation or miscommunication and not understanding of what's available and what's needed. And having that neutral outside party can sometimes be a good support and benefit during those situations.
Yes, I'm sure you see a lot of that. I see a lot of that in my office,
Mm.
communication issues. And so how do you help facilitate those if someone's it's like miscommunication or they're escalated. How
Mhm.
do you help kind of de-escalate the situation and help both parties communicate better?
So, well, we've already done the most important aspect of that, breathing, right? That's one of the first things that we always advocate and try first is, can we just slow the whole situation down? And we'll try to reduce whatever stimuli is in the area. So if we're elevated emotionally and our brain's firing 1,000 times a second with many different things coming on, it can be overwhelming. And that's when those miscommunications happen. So what we do a lot of times is try to just slow the scene down through breathing. We'll use Luna a lot of the times to kind of help ground us back into reality, make sure we feel safe physically, so then our brain can slow down. Like you were talking about in the beginning, those emotions, they're fast, rapid fire, but we need that to slow down so our prefrontal cortex, our logic, can kick back on and go, okay, I'm safe. This is my next step. This is my next step. And we do a lot of safety planning and game planning. So we try to write things down in a manageable step by step, so nothing is overwhelming. I found in my own personal life, if our house gets really dirty and really messy, and I got a 1.5-year-old, so it is chaos all the time. But that can be overwhelming to go, I got to clean this whole house in the next hour and a half before family comes over. But if we take, all right, I'm going to clean the kitchen first, then I'm going to clean the bathroom, then I'll clean the living room. That makes it into manageable chunks. And a lot of times that helps me kind of slow things down. So we take that concept with a lot of the folks that we're working with. What can we accomplish right now? What can we take as manageable chunks? So every day we have a win. That's a big personal belief I have, is every day I want us to be able to write on a board, I accomplished this, I accomplished that. Even if it's small, they add up to that mile. The small steps will always add up to that mile.
I like that analogy because it's bite-sized chunks. Because you use the word overwhelm, and I
Mm-hmm.
think when you're probably on a scene, you're seeing so much overwhelm and shock and emotion, and it sounds like isolation, loneliness. So you could see some shutdown or some amped up, either one. You can go into hypoarousal or hyperarousal. So
Mm-hmm.
you're probably seeing both of those. Talk to us about Luna, if you want to introduce Luna.
Yeah. If you
I
guys
don't
can give me 1 second to have her come over.
yet
Luna, come here.
of a therapy dog. I think this is
Luna,
so
come.
important
Luna,
that
Frigo.
our city has a therapy dog.
Girl. So this is Luna. Oh, they got treats in the other room, so she's smelling the treats.
Yeah.
Um, so Luna is the first therapy dog the city of Noblesville got. We got Luna back in 2022. And Luna's job is to respond to the 911 calls. So she rides with me when we're going to those emergency situations. And if it's appropriate and the client is okay with Luna coming in, she'll come into their home, the side of the road. We're in the hospitals a lot. We go to the jail quite a bit, schools, and she has some special commands that can kind of help do what that box breathing does, is lowering that heart rate, lowering that breathing rate, kind of lowering their blood pressure, and just grounding us back into the moment. One of them is, if we can try to have her do it now. Luna, snuggle, come here. Luna.
I love
So she
snuggle.
gives
Love a
fist bumps, is kind of her way of introducing herself. So she'll give a fist bump, especially for kids, to say, she's safe. Because when you think of a police dog, sometimes you think of, the scary German shepherds.
yes.
But her job is to love on people. And then her snuggle command is her favorite command, and that's where she'll kind of jump up on your lap, and that pressure on your legs kind of helps you ground in the moment. You can hold her, she'll give you kisses, and then if we need to go to a resource, so we're going to a therapy session, we're getting addiction treatment or homeless treatment, or homeless services, housing services, she'll ride with them in the back of the police car. She'll ride in the ambulance with folks, to kind of help keep those emotions as regulated as possible, and help build bridges. That's probably the biggest thing she does. It can be scary and intimidating to tell a police officer or a paramedic or even our social worker, who we may never have met, all those deepest, darkest, emotions and feelings and what's going on. But people love dogs. And so a lot of times we'll see clients talk directly to Luna about what's going on. And there's no judgment there. She's going to love every single person that she interacts with. So we got Luna about in 2022. Since then, We've got our fire department, got Carbon. And then we got a second therapy dog in the police department, Sadie, who focuses on the wellness of our officers to make sure that they are grounded, that they are safe physically, emotionally, spiritually, their families are safe. So that way, when they're out in the community, they're the best of themselves to be there for each and every one of us. Luna is probably our most used dog in the department. I think to date, since getting her, we're at over 600 some formal deployments with her. And then since getting her, we've helped assist at least 15 other agencies across the country get therapy dogs in their agencies as well to build out programs like ours.
Yes, you pioneered really this whole concept in terms of NobleAct. Were you the pioneer of NobleAct? Was Noblesville the first to bring this concept to a city?
So there were cities that had similar programs, Indianapolis being one of the larger ones. We were definitely the first that I'm aware of to really integrate in the therapy dog aspect of it. Luna's still the only therapy dog I know of that has responded on barricaded subjects and with the SWAT team and the negotiators and things of that nature. Where I also think we are probably one of the first, and we're definitely at the leading edge when it comes to balancing that crisis response and a unique and personalized response to folks in crisis with that follow-up and that community engagement. I don't see many other programs doing all three of those as well as our team does. And I have to really give a big shout out to our social worker, Maisha, our resource paramedic, Dennis, and then our other paramedics that are EMS duty officers with the fire department, how much they work and how great they do at their job. Them and Luna are truly the heroes of it. And we wouldn't be successful without all of them.
They are amazing. You all are making such a huge difference in our community. If someone wants to, if they have a crisis and they want to request Luna, can somebody in the community do that? And how does that work?
Yep. So we'll make sure that you guys have our NobleAct line by the end of this talk. But you can call it and be like, "Hey, I'm having a rough day, and can Luna come by?" And as long as we'll work it out to make sure Luna can come by just about any time we can. If we can at that moment, we always will schedule a time for Luna to come by. I have a number of clients that call us specifically because they were just having a rough day and needed some puppy cuddles. And that was enough to keep them healthy, happy, and safe and avert a crisis and keep building those bridges. So if there's any words of wisdom, which I don't have a ton, but if you haven't interacted with our police department or you haven't interacted with our fire department, I really encourage you to reach out to our NobleAct team. We're always happy to make those connections, build those bridges. The more of a relationship we can have with our community on good terms and not just during the 911 situation, that builds trust, that builds cohesion, that allows us to be the servants of this community that the community is asking for. So please don't ever hesitate to reach out to us, whether it's because of a crisis or wanting to learn more about what's available, how to get involved yourself. There's a number of great nonprofit and organizations here that do such good work in the community and are always looking for amazing folks to join it as well. I got an email right before jumping on here from a local organization saying, "Hey, if you know of great community members that would be interested in, send them our way." So don't hesitate to reach out to us. The phone number for us is 317-770-1420. We also have an email that will go to all three of our team members, which is just NobleAct@noblesville.in.gov. Reach out to us any of those different ways. If it is an emergency, the only caveat is right now we're not 24/7. So if it is an emergency, please call 911. I'd rather let's get someone there, to keep you safe. All of our officers can always call us, reach out to us by phone if we can't come there and help coordinate, or at least send us the referral afterwards. And we train our officers and our paramedics every single year on recognizing signs and crises of mental health and addiction and homelessness and trauma and stress. And they're very well versed in what resources. So many of them will also be able to get you connected just as much as our team could as well. We have a wonderful police and fire department that go above and beyond every single day.
We truly do. We are so blessed to have them in our community. When someone so in my field, a lot of folks family members will wanna do a wellness check.
Mhm.
That means somebody they're concerned about, maybe they haven't heard back from them, and they're concerned something isn't they're not okay. Can you walk us through what is a wellness check? How does that work? Because that's a
Mhm.
popular question we get asked as
Yeah,
Christians and community members are like, "I didn't know you could even do that." So, it'd be
yeah.
great to walk
So
through that.
generally what a welfare check is, you have a family member that you're worried about, you can't get a hold of them. So that's where where police department, we're happy to go out and attempt to make contact to make sure that they're okay. If they need resources or get family members connected in. The big thing when asking for a welfare check, right, is we want to make sure that there is a legitimate concern. We can't use it to, harass, or we just want to check in and make sure they're doing what they're doing. So there does need to be some sort of legitimate concern that they are unwell, physically, mentally, emotionally, not safe in a situation. And the scariest part about 911 can sometimes be, how do I express what I'm feeling to the officers so they know what to look for? And our dispatch center does a great job at kind of talking you through that. But the more information you can give that dispatcher to tell the officer, the greater the chance of hopefully that officer making not just contact and saying, yep, they're okay, and letting you know, but identifying what resources was not being met that needed that welfare check in the first place, so we can get them plugged in. So we're not going back to that house every couple of weeks because we're worried about someone. We want to get people as connected as soon as possible to those resources. But if you ever have concerns about someone, please never hesitate to reach out to our police department and ask for that welfare check. Um, we're always happy to go out there, introduce ourselves to the community, make sure no one is suffering in silence, and then get them plugged in with supports.
That's very helpful for folks to know. And this is the other question. Do I call the non-emergency number or do I call 911? And I'm sure it depends, and this isn't a black and white answer, but
Yeah.
in general, what
So
is
it obviously depends. If you believe there's a life threatening situation, and like we need someone there that second, an ambulance, we need them there immediately. I always call 911. And if you have and my recommendations, if you're like, do I call 911? Do I not call 911? I use the non-emergency line. I would err on the side of caution and call 911. But if you're like, hey, I'm worried about someone, I haven't heard from them in a while, the hairs on the back of your neck are just kind of standing up that something just doesn't seem quite right or seems off, the non-emergency line is preferred. It all goes to the officers the same way. Um, so there really is no great answer. Is that kind of gray area, but think of it, if there's a life-threatening emergency right then and there, 911. If we're just worried about someone, need to get them connected, checked in on, that non-emergency would be just as fine.
how do you help your team? So officers that walk in on a scene and might need support. And how does Noble Act support police officers, first responders?
So everything we do is in a partnership, and that's a partnership between our team itself. It's a partnership with the police and our fire department to partner up to create this. It's a partnership with us and our patrol officers or our EMS crews. So when we respond, we're going to come in not to take over and tell them what to do, but work hand in hand with them. So we'll provide guidance. We will, if appropriate and necessary, we'll try to be the ones that maybe does most of like the communication side of things, and let the patrol officers maybe be more scene security if need be. I don't. What I'm wearing today is what I was working in earlier today. I don't generally wear a uniform to break down some of those barriers, but I like having those officers sometimes on scene, again, just as an extra set of eyes or ears, so we can, and we'll bounce things off of each other based on what they saw, what they heard, what their experiences are, and we'll coordinate that as much as we can with the client themselves. So hopefully everyone is on the same page. This is the plan moving forward, whether it's a hospitalization if that's needed, whether it's a referral to a local resource partner, whether it's sometimes, with most of our calls, they just need somebody, just wanted someone to talk to and get guidance and get a game plan in place. And we want to partner with our community members and our clients as much in that process as possible. I never try to say, you're doing what I'm telling you to do. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's a partnership, unless there's an immediate safety concern. We want that buy-in. We want to make everything work together.
It's such an I cannot emphasize this enough, what an incredible service that you all are offering. Statistics, people love numbers, how often are you being utilized? Tell us a little bit about utilization and how many runs you all are going on or calls.
Yeah. So I was looking at this morning. For 2025 so far, we've connected with about approximately 540 unique individuals. That's not including their family members. So we try to focus on the family as a whole. So we may respond to client A, but if there's a spouse, children, grandparents that are living in the home or that are connected, we want to provide them supports and services as well. But our system can only log, one name. So that's about 550 or so far. We've done about 1,600 contacts. So what we classify a contact is some actionable step the team is making on behalf of a client. So that could be responding to the call for service. That could be calling a resource and making a connection and a referral. That could be a home visit for checking in on folks, doing a safety plan. So anytime there's some actionable step, and that's 1,600 from January 1st to June 30th. And I'm sure that number will continue to go up. It's definitely risen every single year since we've created this program. We've identified more and more needs in the community. We started off very small on those hospitalizations to now we're getting referrals from officers, from community members. We're partnering with our resources and providing them support when they go to the home. And every year we're always looking to expand, both just in what we do, but how we do it to make sure it's better every single time.
What an impact you're making. And I see over the years, mental health services has increased as well. So therefore, it's a ripple effect in our community. And the fact that if someone doesn't know how to handle a crisis or a trauma or a situation, they need support services. You're there for emergent situations. You're there if someone needs support. Luna, you even could bring, like,
Stop.
people can call for Luna, our therapy dog.
Go girl.
Oh, there's Luna.
Okay.
And Luna's been on, you said 500
Luna,
some odd calls or 600, something like that.
600 some calls. Yep.
Some calls. There's Luna.
And Luna even has her own police car that she drives around in when we go to the schools quite a bit, and she'll drive her police car, as well as she even has her own challenge coin and her own little mini plush doll. So we'll give those little Luna dolls that have her vest and her badge on to kids after critical incidents, trauma, so they have a little something that they can take with them.
Luna is the biggest sweetheart in the world. So thank you so much for being here. Is there anything you wanted to say that was important that we did not cover?
No, I think we covered a lot, and especially a lot in 30 minutes. I just hope if there's a need that my team can fill, please reach out to us. We are happy to help and connect however we can. If you go to the City of Noblesville's website and you click on the NobleAct link, if you scroll down, it'll talk about the program a little bit as well. But what I don't want anyone to forget is we include all the resources we utilize are there on that website as well. So you can make that connection with yourself or for your family members right away. And they're categorized by types of need. So elder supports, young children supports, food, housing insecurities, behavioral health, addiction. I really encourage you to check those out. And if we're missing a great resource, email me. Please reach out to us so we can get that added. So hopefully it's there for somebody in need.
It is a fantastic resource. It's linked in the comment section below. So if you would like that link, pass it along to a family, a friend, a neighbor, anybody that might need it. Keep it, bookmark it, because I think if you get into a situation and you're like, where do I call for domestic violence assistance or anything along those lines, that like Prevail will be listed in other resources. So be sure to click on the link. Just familiarize yourself with all the resources that are available. Ben and Luna, thank you so much to you and your team and what you're doing in the community and the impact. So if anybody needs services along these lines or support, please click the link, familiarize yourself with NobleAct. And we're so grateful for your time, your heart, and your energy in our community.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.